What first got you excited about blockchains? Think about it. Oh wait. I bet it wasn't multi-million-dollar hacks, exposed data, or finding somewhere safe to store your seed phrase. Was it? Maybe it was the idea of decentralizing a broken financial system. Maybe it was imagining a world where people own their own data and get to sharing the value it creates. Or maybe it was the promise of a fundamentally better way of connecting, communicating, and transacting. The next phase of the internet that empowers us instead of exploiting us. So why hasn't that happened yet? Why are we still living with the same broken system that blockchains promise to fix? It's because blockchains can't keep a secret. Enabling open, transparent systems was only the first half of the challenge. For blockchains to really change the world, they also have to be able to protect our sensitive data when it matters. And that's why we built Midnight, to bring down the final barrier to mass adoption and unlock the full potential of the decentralized web. Let's build the internet we deserve, together. What first got you excited about blockchains?
Ladies and gentlemen, we all know this in crypto. Ownership matters. That's why Cake Wallet. Cake Wallet gives you full control of your digital assets, all in one easy-to-use application. You can store Bitcoin, Litecoin, Zcash, Monero, and many more with just one secure backup. Swap between coins in seconds. No copying addresses, no complicated steps, and even includes Bitcoin Lightning for faster payments. And with Cake Wallet built in, you can use crypto in real life through debit cards or gift cards. Simple, secure, self-custody. Download Cake Wallet and take control of your crypto. Welcome. Oh shit. We've gone really professional, man. I don't know where to hide my water. Welcome to The Breakdown. Episode 709. They're your sponsors, man. I'm not gonna start going through everybody, man. This is crazy. Crazy work to go through everybody, but sponsored by Midnight is the title sponsor. Somebody said, I'll only watch your podcast. This is crazy. Like, this is the amount of crazy people on social media is crazy. Somebody said, you know what? I'll watch your show, but I won't watch your show when Charles comes on. Like, what did Charles hurt you, bro? Like, what the fuck? You got a fucking founder, creator out here, innovator that's out here consistently talking to the crowd and like, what? What, really? Shout out to Polymarket. Polymarket is the official prediction market sponsor of The Breakdown and the DG brand. Also, shout out to one of the most secure wallets within our industry. You want to go ahead and put your Bitcoin or Monero on a hot wallet, you put it on Cake Wallet, and you have the People's Reserve. Shout out to the People's Reserve. People's Reserve. That's right. CJ and that entire crew doing big things with Bitcoin. And Quad Network, man. Shout out to Quad Network. Quad. All right. Yeah, I got tagged up so much today, man. He said, well said, sir. I got Landy in the back. I'm not letting him on right now. I'm not letting him on. Keep him in the back. He's in China, by the way. Been told that Landy is a spy for China. Unregistered agent here in the United States of America. Sounds like a Cali thing. Really does sound like a Cali. It does sound like a Cali thing. All right, I'm gonna talk. We'll talk about meme. I'm gonna talk about meme season real quick. Okay, but I get. You know what it is? I have to talk about it. Okay, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I have to talk about it. I have to talk about meme season because shout out to the editing team, the design team, the graphics team. You see the new graphics, right? Stay tuned. We have more coming. Landy can bring fake bags back for you, okay? If you're looking for some like fake ass Louis Vuitton shit and all that stuff, Landy is in China right now. Let him know. He is really in Chinatown right now. He is really in Chinatown. But I guess, you know, is meme coin season really back? I mean, that's what the editor and the designer went ahead and put on here. So I'm going to talk about it. We got our fresh overlay here. Okay. I'm excited. I'm excited. I like the overlay. I wanted to show it yesterday, but I didn't. I wanted to show it yesterday, but I chose not to. Chose not to. By the way, let me go ahead and play one of the most phenomenal commercials ever produced, okay? The amount of feedback that has come back on this commercial, it is crazy. It is crazy, the feedback. Let me go ahead and put this on. Put this on right now. I expected this feedback. Like, listen. I expected this feedback. Let me go ahead and put it on for you guys. I'm a partner with Cash App, but let's go ahead and play. Let's play this. Cash App right here. Hold on, let's play the commercial. I try to upload it onto this goddamn system. But obviously, it didn't work. So let's play this Cash App commercial. Cash App just made Bitcoin a lot simpler. Most people still think it's just a payment application, and it's not. They rolled out some major upgrades to Bitcoin inside Cash App, and this is what really matters. Zero fees and zero spread on large buys. And that means more of your money goes straight to Bitcoin. Stacking smaller amounts, there's no fees on auto invest, no fees on roundups, and no fees if you get paid in Bitcoin. Moving it, free standard withdrawals, free lightning transfers, and every Bitcoin you buy is held one-to-one. If you buy it, it's there, and you can withdraw it. Cash App is making Bitcoin usable. Check it out and tell me what you think. Okay? Damn. So many people signed up to Cash App after that. The amount of people that went and signed up and got themselves a Cash App and a handle. I said I'm a sex symbol, man. I really am a sex. By the way, for those who are trying to tune in on TikTok, I had to reapply for live. I don't know what was said yesterday, but I had to reapply. So anybody who's tuning in from TikTok wondering, why am I not on TikTok? Well, I need to reapply in order to stream. I can stream off the phone, but I need to reapply in order to stream through Restream. So I don't know what I said yesterday. I have absolutely, I've had bad days. And what I mean by bad days, I've said some shit, bro. I have really said some things. I ain't say nothing yesterday. I said nothing bad yesterday. This is crazy. Maybe it's because I got a fucking puppet on here. Yesterday, because I played some of the commercials here, they said it's unoriginal content. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's unoriginal. These are my sponsors. Anyway, there's a ton of shit happening in terms of partnerships. Shout out to all the partners, sponsors, working on. Like I'm telling you, man. I keep saying I'm doing big things, and maybe people don't fucking realize I'm doing big things. I just don't. I'm saying I'm doing them, but I am not telling you what I'm doing. I've learned my lesson. When you put it out there and you say what you're doing, you got the haters trying to cut your legs off. So things happen. Things happen. Okay. Let's talk about this. I guess I can bring Landy in, but I do want to talk about this thing called vampire attacks. A lot of people like to use this vamp thing. Somebody vamped me. My acid was vamped. Meanwhile, all these assets are like literally at 50K. 50K market caps, and everybody's talking about I'm the OG. I'm the OG. Okay, we'll get into that. I just want to see something before I start running my mouth. I gotta see some stats here before I run my mouth. I will run my mouth today. Not on TikTok, right? I can run my mouth. I will say this, and we'll talk about this later in the show as well. I will never go into, and by the way, I'm sure people understand where I'm going with this. I got plenty of bags in both, and I will be dunking on the one that's currently up 100%. Let you clip this up and send this out to the 14 people in the KOL chat. I will be taking your money. There is nothing more satisfying than to take profits from the KOLs. Nothing more satisfying. So continue, please. Continue with the organic push. Okay, go ahead. Keep on going. This whole vamping thing is weird. Obviously, there's a lot of PvP going on. A lot of people are homeless and broke. Okay. A lot of people are homeless and broke. And they're desperate. I don't like ugly. I don't like ugly. That's one thing I don't like. I just don't like ugly. And what I mean by that is not ugly people. I just the ugliness inside, right? I don't like that. I'm holding back because I can get wicked right now. Let me bring in Landy because I kind of can cool down when Landy comes in. Landy, what's going on? Landy is reporting live from China. Landy, how's it going?
Chi-town and Chinatown are two different things, David. So I'm.
You like the new overlay, Landy?
I love it. It's great. I like the design. It looks really good. I like the scrolling ticker on the bottom as well. Look, shout out to the graphic artist and designer, man. Did a good
They're
job.
working. They're working.
I don't know about that title, but you know.
Listen, what was I supposed to do? So I literally text messaged him and I said, bro, is meme coin season really back? I'm like, what am I doing here? So it's true story. He's currently at the doctor's office, bro. So he can't do shit. He's like, you can run, I can give you the old overlay and you can run with it. And you know me, like I don't want to do that. Because I said yesterday that I wanted to show it off, right? And like now I gotta wait. Nah, I'm not waiting. I can't wait. But being that the title's here, you know, so I'm being like I got a ton of I'm getting messaged right about. There's some like messages coming in to me, Landy, about vamping. Okay,
Hmm.
I'm being told where I can go, what I should be in. You know what I love when people tell me what I can do with my money.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like if I don't do what they tell me to do, then I am vamping or I've done something purposely to farm. Like it is the wild guilt trip. Guys, let me explain something to you. I'm Jewish, right? And there's something called the Jewish guilt trip. I've had that in my entire life. My entire life, I've had people put on the guilt, the Jewish guilt trip. Not gonna work. Number one, not gonna work because I think the Jews took away my card. That's number one. That's why I already told you the story about the Jew that wanted to beat me up in Prospect Park. So like none of this is going to work on me. None of it. None. So I'm Landy. Probably like I don't know if you heard about this. This whole Rage thing. Have you heard about Rage? Rage Comics, Rage Guy.
I have heard a little bit.
Okay.
I've done my best to not pay attention because there's just a lot of mudslinging. So I don't pay attention to it. And obviously I'm wearing a Bitcoin crown, so I'm not going to pay attention to
I
too
get
much.
it. I listen, and I understand
I
that.
see
And
it.
like, you know what? I'm going to say that obviously you've seen me go fucking absolutely crazy about it. And that was the last time I really went nuts on the timeline. And that was only because I had a bunch of fucking cocksuckers. I can say that now.
Tell me how you really feel.
This is how I'm feeling. This is therapy right now. I had a bunch of, the disrespect to OGs. It's like really the disrespect. But I had a bunch of cocksuckers attack me. That's like I was in. So you have. Let me explain this to you because you're gonna get confused, and a lot of people are getting confused. There are like 95,000 Rage Guy tickers. Okay, 95,000. With the way, obviously, everything that's happened here with tech, and people can create a contract out of nowhere. So I went into this Rage Guy first, the one with the ticker Rage Guy in it. And then I saw another one pop up, and I was in others as well, but these ones were actually moving and shit, whatever. Then I went into the other one 4 days later, just the ticker Rage. Both of them are Rage Guy. One has the ticker Rage Guy. The other one has Rage. That's it. I'm trying to simplify this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in both, but then I started receiving screenshots. And I people who like me started telling me, "Yo, bro, I'm in this group. They're talking shit about you. They're like, yo, we're gonna dunk it. We're gonna dunk this on his head. Like he goes in, we're gonna use him as exit liquidity. And like it's well known that when I come into a project, the motherfuckers milk me. Okay, we know this, Landy.
Pause.
A lot of
But
people
yeah.
know this. I could just name Crying Cat, right? No more need to be
Do you really
right.
want to name it?
Come on, David, throw in another Bitcoin.
Yeah. Mhm.
So anyway, this whole Michael Jackson video starts happening, right? Beat It, when they're walking around with
Mhm. Mhm.
not you Diddy motherfuckers in here. I'm not talking about that kind of Beat It. I'm talking about they're walking around in a circle, whatever. This Rage, the ticker Rage community, that one goes away because that's it. Like they're I don't know what the fuck they're doing. The reason why I just said I'm not supporting that motherfuckers or those motherfuckers is because you heard the story. I was driving, minding my own business. I'm literally driving somewhere, long trip driving, and I see a post flash up, and the dude takes a direct shot at me publicly. Some fucking Gravano did not. I don't know what the fucking name is. And I said, "Fuck this." I tweet at a reaction. It was a reaction. I usually don't react like that. I'll think instead of react. But the reaction came, and I was just like, "Fuck you." I'll support this one. I didn't get rid of the other one. I held both, but I'll support this motherfucker. The one that I supported went up to 6.7 million in a really bad time. The other one still can't pass 4.7, its all-time high, even with it being listed all over the place. The reason it just got listed is because this Rage guy, Ticker Rage, went up, started shooting up to 3 million. I had nothing to do with it either. I didn't even. I looked at it. Oh shit, the shit's moving. Great. I was surprised. I see it moving, and then what happens? The dead one, the thing that's been dead for 8 months, that I'm also holding a bunch of, the thing that has been dead for 8 months, all of a sudden this shit pops off. What do I find out? They hired up KOLs, tier 8 KOLs in a trading group to go ahead and put money into this, bundle it up, put money into this. I'm sure they have connections with Moonshot, which I will never support in my life again. Forget about Moonshot. But they got Moonshot, they got KuCoin, they got Mexi, the L Bank. They got listed on there instantly. Okay, KOL's got connections. God bless them. I don't know if you saw yesterday's show. I'm sitting back and relaxing now, man. You work for my bags. I'm work for my bags. This is making money season. I want you to go out there and you work for my bags. And you think that keep thinking I'm a dumbass. My dumbass with these bags is dunking on you. I promise you. And there's nothing wrong with that because I'm taking profit. They'll say, oh my God, he's literally publicly saying he's good. Yes, absolutely. I'm selling. Okay. Dumping is another word for selling.
I got to interject for a second here because like it's not really on Moonshot. Like they're going to list all these places. You're paying for listings, right? You got enough money. They're going to take it. You get a listing. It's like it is a B2B.
Listen, right? I don't know what happened. It used to be that Moonshot would list things because they had a community. So like, here's the end of the story. Here's the end of the story for me here.
Did Fartcoin really have a community or was it just putting on a ton of volume?
Who?
Fartcoin didn't really have a community. It was just putting on a bunch of volume and it got listed.
I get that. Look, and all these things claim to be about community, but they're about the money. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. This is capitalism. I'm not even offended. I don't care.
These things are microcaps though too. So like it takes a lot of money on the back end to actually get them listed.
Listen, and there is no way Landy was sitting at like fucking $20. Like you know what happened. It's not a fucking.
Well, yeah, but this happens all the time. You take a project or a token that's kind of dead, and you get some money together. You start getting it back out there into the narrative cycle. You pay some money to get some listings. You make sure that you have some skin in the game in the liquidity pool so you can get some fees, and you pump it and then you exit. That's kind of that's the game. But these are so small cap that it's not difficult to do. I get
well, it's not difficult to do because like I said, I found out that there's a trading group that jumped into this and they've pumped it. So here's what I'm trying to say. The only reason why I'm talking about this, number one, is because the fucking editor had to put his meme coin season really back, right? So I'm talking about this because whatever. But at the end of the day, this is maybe it's just old school of me. Community versus KOLs. I can't stand KOLs. I hate influencers. Like I despise both titles. Like I don't like them. I don't like them. When I see a community, you don't have to like them. You don't have to like them. But when I see a community build out for 8 months and they have the original properties to the project, and this happens, and then you have a Moonshot who doesn't even look into it, but they just go, yeah, we're gonna just grab money. Or you have a bunch of KOLs don't give a fuck, and they're not gonna hold either. You know what's gonna happen? They'll take it to a certain amount, and boom. You can't create a community. And I've been here for a very, very long time. We watched, I'm not comparing it to Bitcoin, but you watch Bitcoin build out, you watch Ethereum build out, you watched B&B build out with their entire Asian community. Like, you can't buy a community. You just can't. And after 8 months, these motherfuckers on this side, Ticker Rage, they've just continued to build. They haven't even been toxic. It was very toxic in the beginning, obviously, and I got caught up in it, and I just said, you know what, I'm out. I'm out. I never said a bad thing about anybody, but I said I can't. This is not my energy here no more. But when the community is building and you just like take the rug and pull it out from them, it's wild. Like I look at it, and that's where the competitiveness comes from. Like I don't even like. I want the community to win, and I don't even give a fuck about the money. I'm not desperate for money. I'm not homeless. I think that's the thing. You can see the homeless behavior start coming out. Like I can tell who didn't make money here. Because in no way, shape, or form would people who have made money here go on such an attack on a community. If anything, if they believe in community, right? If people who state that they care about the community, love community, and they want to be a part of something special, then why don't you join the community, right? No, I'm asking you seriously, Landy. You can tell me if I'm right or wrong. If you care about community and you care about real properties and IPs and all this stuff, why wouldn't you move over to where the community is, where there is a foundation that's been built? And I'm talking about not just Rage, everything. I'm talking about absolutely anything.
This is where we maybe fundamentally
No,
have
I know
different
you're like, if
ideals.
you're going about profits, look,
I'm a
and I'm gonna
trader.
let you get the mic. If you're going to have the conversations about profits, I respect it because I'm in both.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm going to take as much profit as possible out of the other one that's rolling right now.
Yeah.
The other one I'm holding. And that's because, like, will I eventually take profits from it? Yeah, and you should. Everybody should. But anything you go into, you should take profits. Like, you should. Being a holder, okay, and round tripping is not cool either. So, but you can respectfully take profits. Regardless, what I'm trying to say is, if you care about this space and you talk about let's bring everybody together and let's go for it, let's send something, right? But then you take the rug and pull it right out under from a real community, that's shitty behavior. And I feel like I have a platform. I haven't said anything yet. I haven't gone onto the timeline X and said anything about this.
Well,
I've made a comment here or there, or I like something, but like I haven't said no word.
look,
I just think it's shitty. I think it really is shitty. And it also showed me something about that I already knew about the exchanges. Shitty
yeah, but
moves.
look,
Shitty
exchanges
moves.
are businesses. They're going to
I
take
get
money
it, but it's
from anywhere.
but you're spitting on the culture.
They don't
I
care
get
about
you're a business,
culture.
but you're spitting on the culture.
They don't care. They're here to make
I
money.
know that.
So here's fundamentally how do you build a community in this space? It's exit on people and drive the price down, and now you've got community, right? Because you'll always get a certain percentage that are going to hang on for dear life and fight for it to come back.
All right, but hear me out on this one before you go with yours. This community has been there with a market cap of like 150K
Yeah,
at
that's
times.
I'm not arguing that. That's not my
So like
point.
they didn't become. I know where you're going with. They became bag holders. In reality, if you go in there, they're in love with this shit. They're on there 24/7. I'm
I
not
get
talking.
it.
I'm not just saying. I know
I'm not.
community
There's
is a
nothing
word.
against anybody.
Me and Sakasa used to get into it about the word community because he would roll his eyes when I mentioned the word community.
But my point to you about this is that almost all of the most hardened communities have become hardened communities because they bought into the narrative, the
Hold on.
potential for
Real
price
quick,
appreciation.
breaking news.
What's up?
The clarity advances through the Senate Banking Committee in a bipartisan vote.
Yeah, I mean, for like the fifth time. I'm gonna squat on it again. Well, it's got to go back
Yeah.
to the House for review now again. Hold on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I just
But
think
yeah,
I wanted to put that out there.
so look, the most hardened communities, even in some of the the large caps, right? How were they really built? It's the most hardened communities were built through the trials and tribulations of price depreciation because they were there when price was appreciating. Some of them might have taken profit. Some of them might have round trip. Some of them might have lost money. The fact of the matter is they're built in the tough times, right? And yeah, somebody's telling me I'm wrong on everything apparently, but the biggest thing is here that a lot of community in crypto is created via these very tough times and getting the rug pulled out from under them by, whales or, zero block snipers or whatever it might be. And it's about what cream rises to the top at the end of the day. And, I'm a trader. I'm not here for community. I'm here for, you know, Bitcoin evangelism and crypto as a technology, blockchain as a technology, I should say, crypto as a wider narrative to get people involved um, in the changing world that we live in, right? Um, I pay attention to what's going on with memes and altcoins and all that kind of stuff. I'm invested in a lot of things as well, but I'm a trader. At the end of the day, community or no community, price goes up, price goes down.
I
If there's a
agree.
trade available for me, I'm going to take it.
Okay, Landy, I'm in full agreement with you. Like, there's me and you will not disagree on this topic. Okay, IDCA, it goes up. I scale out respectfully. Respectfully, I don't kill charts. I trade, and we're here to make money, right?
hmm
Okay, we can agree on that.
Yeah.
You trade a little bit more. I don't trade as much as you. I buy, and then there's a certain price point. I get, I scale out.
Yep.
If it goes back down, I'll get back in, rinse and repeat. That's it. That's how I do it.
hmm
I believe in community. I do. I'm not saying that all these things have communities.
No, you
I'm
need
not saying
community
that.
for longevity.
I've seen, though, there are assets that have communities to them, that have
Yeah.
been built over months, and they're crazy about it. And that makes you want to be a part of something like that. Like, I know you're thinking, like, "Man, I don't give a fuck about being a part of anything." I feel you. I already know
No,
what you're thinking.
no, I'm a part of the wider, Bitcoin and crypto community, right? Like, so
Me
I
too.
do care about it. It's just that I'm very factual when it comes to, I'm very, I
You're
look,
talking to somebody who went on mainstream media and advocated for memes, and that might be a
I
good
know,
thing or a bad thing. Okay,
but
I'm just saying that these people will eventually be Bitcoiners if they're not, because
oh,
a
of
lot of
course,
them are not Bitcoiners yet.
I get it. I guess maybe my point is getting a little lost on some of the audience here. My point is that the the communities and the ones that are actually worth looking at and the tokens that they're in are only going to be you're only going to find out if it's a real community when it's the actual absolute doldrums of price, when it has been made fun of, they've been made fun of, people have attacked them, and they're still around, right? Those are the most hardened communities that are usually, by and large, going to find success in this space because they've been around and they have a track record and they're still here even through all of the different types of attacks, whether it be, on social media or whether it be on the actual charts. But realistically, um, I, I, I really, I cannot relate to being part of a community because I am of a different mindset because I will get into things on lows and I will have a spot bag, but I'm primarily a trader, right? I primarily am here to capture the upside moves and the downside moves when there's volatility. And that is, just a part of the way that I do things in markets in general. And this is not just, meme coins or altcoins or Bitcoin or traditional markets. There's things that I will hold forever, right? And for many communities, they will hold these things forever, and that's good for them because if they can stick it out through the bearish periods, they can come out the other side and enjoy the bullish periods. My normal criticism of many people in this space, though, is that they don't take profits and they don't pay themselves for the work that they put in. And they've and then there's this even if it's not explicit, there's this like unwritten quote unquote social contract that if you so much as take profits, now you're dumping and you're a bad guy, and that's just bullshit.
Yeah, I
So
don't listen to people that
but
that
that's
say
every
that.
freaking community,
Yeah,
bro.
I could
That's
care less.
every quote unquote community. No matter, I can't even go to a Bitcoin space and talk about price action without them calling me a fake Bitcoiner because I trade. Like, bro, I'm hedging my portfolio because I hold a ton of fucking Bitcoin. What do you want me to do on the way down? You want me to not trade and protect my portfolio, take advantage of profits to buy more Bitcoin? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I literally was listening to a space with a bunch of Bitcoiners arguing with each other a little bit earlier. Now, granted, I think that arguments and debate are good for Bitcoin, altcoins, crypto communities in general. I think that they're good because if you can distill it down to what can we take away from this that is positive moving forward, then you can actually get things done that are good for the space and good for everybody in it. But in most cases, we're driving the car in the wrong direction
Yeah.
because people are too egotistical, they are too combative, they're too invested, over invested in something and too emotional. And I just don't like getting involved in any of it. I actively avoid it because I just don't see the upside there. I've got my own way of doing things in these markets, and there's a lot of people that and prior cycles and prior communities that have attacked me because I I exited because I saw the opportunity to exit because there was one profit to be made, and things weren't, the actual BS that was occurring was not for me. So hey, I'm gonna take my profit and go. And look, I am not the most respectful because I also uh, I also have been
Yo.
known to I've also been known to, take profits aggressively, especially if somebody's going to outwardly attack me on social media, then fine, screw you. I'll just full on exit. And you can begrudge me for it, but okay. I don't often get attacked because I don't get involved. So therefore, I can get into a chart and I can get out of a chart, and then I
Yeah,
can observe and see how they're doing. And if they're doing well and it's on a low, I'll go in and I'll accumulate and hold for the long term. Right.
you're
And
right.
and that's how
You're
I
right.
do things.
Yeah.
A- And
You know
that,
what it is? I
yeah,
like to jump into the crowd. I like to jump into the mosh pit. So
you crowd surf and then get into the
yeah,
mosh pit.
that's
Yeah.
fuck. Like, but I haven't been doing that at all lately. Like, I haven't been crowd surfing at all. Like, I've been doing everything. Like, okay, I've been, especially with AI agents, I've been like watching and collecting data on everything and putting myself in a good position. Shit goes up, scale out, like rinse and repeat. And I haven't been saying a word. Everybody who's out there chasing clout wants clout, have clout. Go ahead. Talk about it. I'm literally sitting back here saying, talk about it. Go into the crowd mosh pit.
And here's something that I think is usually runs counter, right? Like I often that where I get a lot of crap from people is I'll get DMs of like, "Hey, I saw you on this stage. Are you in that thing that they're talking about?" And it might be somebody that I don't even like. Like, yeah, if there's going to be some upside there and I think that it's actually going to run, when especially when things were actually when there was actually liquidity here, especially for the meme sector, is there the possibility that this could be a nice runner to like 100 mil, right? Of course, even if I don't like somebody, if I see that there might be the potential there and there is the liquidity there, I'll fuck around and find out. I'll see what I can do there, and but that's a trade. And then it really did. So to your point, then it really is about the community at the end of the day. Is this community toxic? Are they cool and are they actually sticking together and hanging out? Somebody said, do you like having friends? I do. I have lots of friends, and I've got lots of friends that are into a lot of different things, from Bitcoin to meme coins. It runs the gamut, and they're involved in all kinds of stuff, and they're even hooked up in communities with people that I don't really care for, but it doesn't matter what my opinion is. I look at the chart, I look at the community, and I say, when the times are good, they're always good. Everybody's always going to be on the timeline screaming about it. That's great. But when the times are bad, how do they weather those storms? And that's where me, as an outside observer and not directly involved in communities, can look at something and go, I think that this is worth me accumulating and holding for the next bigger run. And that's the way that I operate. I've been here too long, David. I've been involved in everything from Bitcoin, and through the block wars is actually where I learned that a lot of people will smile in your face and stab you in the back and talk shit about you behind your back while singing your praises everywhere else. And that was during the block wars. It
I
was
was I was a hero in your story once, right? Now I'm
yeah,
the villain.
yeah, and
I've learned,
it's
honestly,
wild.
on social media, I have never learned, like, like, growing up in New York. I don't know, maybe it was different. Like, did you have some sort of issues with some of your friends where you didn't talk for a minute? Yeah, you did, but then, like, you come back, ha ha ha, and laugh and, again. But it was never that serious.
Yeah,
Social media is like wild, bro. Like, one minute you're the hero, next minute you're the villain, bro. Like, one minute you're Batman, the next minute you're the Joker. Like, I'm telling you.
yeah, and well, and I'm going maybe a couple levels deeper than that, David. I'm talking about people that I met in real life and had business relationships with that completely turned on me once the block wars started. We're talking about we act actual working business B2B relationships outside of
Yeah.
social media, and yet they were doing it just really, and I wasn't naive to this stuff, right? It was just really telling that it became, social media became the shield to do that kind of shit, right? Because in the business world, once you screw somebody over, it's the same kind of thing. It works its way through the networking circles to, like, hey, we're not going to do business with so and so over there because they screwed over this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and these businesses and stuff like that, right? But social media becomes an obfuscation shield where it was like, oh, we'll do this shady stuff in the B2B relationship behind your back, but on social media we're gonna tout and sing your praises and make it seem, send out conflicting messages to kind of muddy up what's happening here, get more people involved to make it a more complex and shit situation for everybody involved. And I just don't. I what I found is um, that in blockchain specifically, and blockchain related business, that just needed to be the same way that I was in NY and Chicago, and that is an absolute viper, a shark. I will eat you alive. And the moment you cross me, I'm going to cut all the cords. And then I'll even go one step further and stick my thumb in your eye every opportunity that I can get. And that turned me into a bit of some might call me a douchebag. That's a
Guy,
callback for anybody on Spaces. But yeah, but that this is extended to how do I approach things in the crypto circles and meme coins and altcoins and any kind of projects. It's like, look, I'm not going to get involved in the community, but I'm watching very closely. I'll trade it. I'll observe more. And like I said, go right back to when the times are tough, how do they react to
Yeah.
those tough times?
Look, somebody just like even in this chat, they're like, David, you got to get us listed on exchanges. I don't have to do anything. I'm talking about this right now because like I feel it's obviously it's my show and I can say what the fuck I want on it. I don't have to do anything else. Respectfully, I don't mean that to be insulting. But like I don't have to do anything. I'm a market participant. I'm just saying that I don't like dirty shit. That's it. Like I don't like ugly. I don't like dirty shit. I don't like people praying for people's downfalls. I don't like none of that stuff. I don't. I stay away from that. I leave everything like honestly, Landy, I leave everything in God's hands. Everything. More so than ever before, man. I just leave everything in God's hands.
Look, there's
Everything is left in God's hands.
there's a lot of people that I like in this space. There really is. And they're into all kinds of different stuff. And at the end of the day, everyone is here to try and change their lives for the better, and make money in the process. And usually money is first, right? I need to make money to change my life for the better. Some are here to secure, maybe they already have a lot of money and they're here to build and secure generational wealth for themselves, and build innovative product. Some are here for the vibes and the community and the friendship that comes along with that in social circles. And also, hey, we can make money doing this thing. I don't begrudge anyone for doing any of that stuff. Look, we are in anything crypto related, we are in a perpetual FAFO loop, right? We like to push the bleeding edges of technology. We like to be disruptive, challenge the status quo and systems. And I think that all of that in its aggregate is good. And with all of that good comes a whole lot of bad, just like anywhere else.
Yeah.
And realistically, at the end of the day, make money, because that's the first thing that you were promised when you got in here oh, you can get into this and there's a ton of opportunity to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Well, in order to do so, you got to have a plan for how you're going to make money. And just sitting on your hands and waiting around, and not hunting for opportunity is what prevents people from actually being successful in making that money. And there's a big difference between getting rich and being wealthy. And many aspire to be rich, and you don't stay rich for long. You should be here to build wealth. And wealth comes in many different forms, but for many, it's building financial wealth. And then also preserve your value set as much as you possibly can, because a lot of people will go against their values in order to quote unquote get rich.
For sure.
Don't do it.
You know,
'Cause you won't stay
by the
rich.
way, I hope everybody saw the Cash App commercial yesterday.
Why can't I find it on your timeline?
You don't.
I never saw it. The first time I saw it,
I had the only person that hasn't liked it yet is Jack Dorsey, and maybe he hasn't seen it yet.
well,
But
I'm not
everybody
Jack
else from
Dorsey, and I didn't see it yet. I'm literally
Cash App,
scrolling the timeline.
Big Key, everything that Block has, man, they all came out and they love the commercial. They're like, this is a sex symbol, man.
I know.
I literally made
appreciate it.
Cash App sexy. I want people to understand that.
Okay, there's something wrong on the timeline, because I
look,
see.
people don't want to come into the goddamn chat. They're commenting on the timeline. Like I'm reading. Some person wrote, David, oh my God, your fucking beard, your skin,
Okay.
everything is so. Hold on, I'll read it. Hold on.
Well, let me just tell you this real quick. On the timeline, under every single one of your posts, when you're threading them together, I click on a post that's threaded, and I can't see the post it's threaded to right now. So I don't know, because I see yesterday you have a threaded post underneath says Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Bank, you said blah 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 blah, and then you link out to their legal stuff. All the legalese, right?
Yeah.
I can't. It's not linking to anything. There's nothing above it on either the phone app. It's not on the timeline. I just see that post linked
Yeah.
to nothing, but it shows the thread going up. So you should be able to see what was posted above it as part of that thread. Same for today,
Anyway,
by the
I
way.
just want to say that because of me, right? I've made Cash App sexy. Like handsome people and very, very good-looking people are using Cash App. And if you want to start, looks maxing, you got to have Cash App. As always, Landy. Maybe you'll come back on later.
I can try. We'll see where I'm at.
I know you're busy. You're a busy guy.
Yesterday, look, things are starting to settle down. Now that I'm back, and I got to get back in the rhythm. So obviously I've been uploading my videos. Had a little hiccup because of internet connection last week.
Yeah,
But
hiccup.
little hiccup. But I'm getting them back in the swing of things. I did want to say, you might recall yesterday I talked about Bitcoin getting that possible trend break, but as long as it's staying above $78,000 to $80,000, it's more likely that we could potentially see the highs again, and maybe even higher if we start to break above 82.5 to 83, somewhere around the 85, 86, and even as high as 89 to 90 is looking up there towards the big overhead weekly above this monthly area at 82.5. But we did see that from yesterday. We got a trend break on the daily and then a nice move back up. And now we're kind of sitting here, kind of seeing if we get that continuation to the actual high of this move, or if things kind of go into consolidation. So watch 78 to the downside. If it starts to drop at 76 to 74 is going to be the key area to watch. You don't really want to see closes below 74, as that would blunt this move's momentum to the upside for a little bit and offer up a potential retest of the high side of the low structure at 70 to 72 or so, maybe even dipping into the upper 60s. And that's where the rubber hits the road, as I've been saying. But so far so good, kind of playing out to what I talked about yesterday, and on the video for the Wednesday check-in. So for those of you that haven't watched it yet, it is pinned to my profile. It's also on the Goxstein account as well.
Disrespectful if they haven't watched it. Disrespectful. Absolutely disrespectful if they have not watched your videos. Like if they would have been ahead of the game if they've been watching your videos.
I would hope so.
They'd be driving their Lamborghinis that they fantasize about. If they've been watching, if you have been watching Landy's videos, you'd be driving a Lamborghini. Maybe you'd be driving a new Honda Accord.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Lambos are just the tires, the service, everything. It's just too expensive, and it's like as you get older, you understand like, oh, it's all fun to have, but it's such a waste of money. It's like that.
I like American Muscle.
Lambos, boats. It's just like you're buying all these depreciating assets. Look, if you want to get wealthy,
listen, you got to enjoy it, Landy. Don't give me the depreciation. Listen, you buy one thing
that holds
and
its value. If
but
you want to buy expensive stuff, there's stuff that holds its value better than
I get it, but like this shit is corny as shit, bro. Like there are a few cars that obviously they maintain their value and they go, they become collector's items, but you can't even drive them. So there's no fucking point to it. If you want a car, get yourself a fucking car, but like, don't fucking get yourself 19 cars and shit.
Wait, are you saying that I shouldn't have as many cars as I have?
I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying.
Look, I'm all for getting some depreciating assets and having some fun. I mean, me personally, I'm a big fan of American classic muscle cars. I like my Corvettes. But I also like Teslas. So, and we know Teslas, how they definitely hold their value.
Yeah, they hold their value, all right.
Oh man.
Listen, you better love your Tesla because that shit is sinking. That's all. But I will say this: the prices of Teslas have gone up. Used Teslas have gone up because
They
of,
have. To be
because of
fair,
gas
they have.
prices. Yeah, because of gas prices. Even though it doesn't even make sense, but I won't even get into that. But because of gas prices.
Yeah, just don't go through and trade in your Tesla for a new Tesla through the dealership. Sell it, yeah, sell it private party or something because
100%.
they don't want to give you nothing. They don't want to give you nothing. I'm like, it's fully paid off. There's no money owed on that. Don't want to give you nothing, man. Like, I could go. It's almost like they really are trying to encourage you to go private party or something. I don't know, man.
Tesla's weird though. Seriously, they will never give you the price. Never mind. I don't even want to get into that conversation.
No, at some point we should have that conversation though, because I think I actually really do. I like Tesla. And if for those that haven't experienced full self-driving, you're missing out on something that I think is completely wild and has gotten so much better over the years. Like I can literally, I was talking to you yesterday and arriving at home, not having to do anything. Like, bro, we live in a wild age where I'm literally on a show with you.
Yeah. But honestly, can I say something? There's nothing like even today I had to go do something, man. For 30 minutes I went, I had to get on the highway and shit. There's nothing better than like just driving, man. I don't know. I love, don't get me wrong, I love Tesla. I really do.
Get yourself the mid-engines, by the way, are so great, dude. If you have not experienced it, go and test drive one. Let me know what you think. The mid-engine, it is essentially a supercar.
It is a supercar.
Yeah. I mean, it's very, very nice. You should definitely get one.
It is. I will.
I'm going to convince you. Hey, by the way, I have 2 for sale if you want one of them.
Okay. I'll look into it. Sounds interesting.
Look, I want there's a special edition that I really want, and dude is willing to move on the price. So if anybody wants a vet, hit me up.
Oh my God. Well, guys, check out Landy's video that came out yesterday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Landy does Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So what the fuck happened just now? The table went out on me.
Wait, what?
Yo.
I thought somebody was going to make a kitchen counter comment. No. I thought we were going to do a prop show again.
Had me in the first. Anyway, check out Landy's videos. Obviously, they come out at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're not on TikTok right now. I've reapplied for whatever. We'll talk more about that later today. As always, Landy, ladies and gentlemen, Landy. He's in China right now. Landy, I'll catch up with you later today.
Take care, David.
That was Landy, man. The puppet. I think the puppet got us taken off of TikTok. I think it's Landy who got me taken. I think Landy got me taken off of TikTok. But we'll be back on TikTok 100%. For those who are tuning in and who are usually tuning in from TikTok, please tell the whole cabal that tunes into the show, the whole audience, that go to YouTube or X or whatnot to go ahead and watch us. But we'll be right back after this commercial break.
What first got you excited about blockchains? Think about it. Oh, wait. I bet it wasn't multi-million-dollar hacks, exposed data, or finding somewhere safe to store your seed phrase. Was it? Maybe it was the idea of decentralizing a broken financial system. Maybe it was imagining a world where people own their own data and get to sharing the value it creates. Or maybe it was the promise of a fundamentally better way of connecting, communicating, and transacting. The next phase of the internet that empowers us instead of exploiting us. So why hasn't that happened yet? Why are we still living with the same broken system that blockchains promise to fix? It's because blockchains can't keep a secret. Enabling open, transparent systems was only the first half of the challenge. For blockchains to really change the world, they also have to be able to protect our sensitive data when it matters. And that's why we built Midnight, to bring down the final barrier to mass adoption and unlock the full potential of the decentralized web. Let's build the internet we deserve, together.
Ladies and gentlemen, we all know this in crypto. Ownership matters. That's why Cake Wallet. Cake Wallet gives you full control of your digital assets, all in one easy-to-use application. You can store Bitcoin, Litecoin, Zcash, Monero, and many more with just one secure backup. Swap between coins in seconds. No copying addresses, no complicated steps, and even includes Bitcoin Lightning for faster payments. And with Cake Wallet built in, you can use crypto in real life through debit cards or gift cards. Simple, secure, self-custody. Download Cake Wallet and take control of your crypto. We're back. We're back. Let's go ahead and bring in our special guest here. Let me set this whole thing up. Hopefully this works. It will work. Let's bring in Dr. K here. Dr. K. It
Hey, can you hear me?
I hear you. 100% I hear you. There you go.
There we go.
What's going on? Long time.
Yeah, how's it going, man?
I'm doing good, man. By the way, obviously Dr. K and Kwai Network are on as a sponsor of the breakdown. So let's go ahead and give it a round of applause.
Set
I
it
know
up
everybody
here.
adjust their seat level, man. It's so funny
Yeah.
when people come on here. They're like, why is he towering over me, man? Meanwhile,
go.
I'm 5'10" and everybody's 6'6" and shit. So, what's happening, man?
Not a whole lot. It's a fun week in crypto. Things are looking up a little bit here with Bitcoin. So a lot going on with Kwai Network. We had a couple listings in the last couple weeks. Most recently, we got on CoinDCX, which is the biggest exchange in India. About 2 weeks ago, we got on Kraken in the US, which was kind of our first real US accessible listing. So a lot of good stuff going on there. And then we're having good releases. We released Blip Wallet, an update to it, which is kind of the sort of flagship mobile wallet for Kwai. One of the really cool features there is we have a browser and sort of like app wallets. So any of the apps that you'd normally use sort of on mobile, or sorry, on desktop with sort of a browser extension, you can actually use in the mobile wallet in the same way that you use it on desktop. So that's a pretty cool update. So people can kind of use all the ecosystem tools and projects without having to be on desktop. They can do it on their phone. Yeah, so it's going well for us.
And congratulations on that. I wanted to, so obviously brand new to the audience. We have Bitcoiners that tune in here, Bitcoin maxis, and then we have everybody else, ETH, Solana, the whole ecosystem's here watching. Can you break down the network for people and what the network specifically does?
Yeah, so the point of Kwai Network is really to ideally finish what Satoshi started. When I learned about Bitcoin and got interested in it in 2012, the thing that attracted me to it is the idea of a independent sovereign financial system. And one key component of that is proof of work and what proof of work does in establishing sort of a digital form of sound money. The sort of shortcomings that, I don't know if I'd say shortcomings, but the things that Bitcoin wasn't ultimately designed to do are needed to realize that fully independent financial system, namely scale, privacy, speed, right? And so the point of Quai is to bring those things to proof of work. It's kind of our thesis, and sort of if we had to say what our maximalism is that we're sort of proof of work maximalists. So we've spent about 8 years at this point going from idea through research, through development, through launch of how do you scale proof of work in a decentralized way to create that proof of work system that can actually function as money. So maybe it's a complement to Bitcoin and the ideas and the features that Satoshi introduced with proof of work. It's just sort of finishing the puzzle so that if we want to hold digital assets, we don't need to also hold dollars. We don't need to go back and forth between the banking system and decentralized currencies. We want to just be able to exit the system and never go back. And Quai is providing the pieces that are required to do that.
You have tell me the reception that you've gotten recently from the Bitcoin community about the network.
So more recently, it's actually been kind of interesting. So
Because you know how our Bitcoin maxis and Bitcoiners are.
well, what do I say to the Bitcoin crowd is, it's not about replacing Bitcoin, it's about complementing Bitcoin, right? It's about extending Bitcoin. So you could argue that Lightning is a threat to Bitcoin, but it's trying to add functions and features to decentralized sound money. So it's not a threat, it's a complement. And you should really view Quai in much of the same way, which is Bitcoin is the best store of value appreciating asset in the history of mankind. Right, it's done phenomenally over the past 15 years, and it functions as this sort of digital gold concept, and that's Bitcoin's thing, and that's Bitcoin's lane. And Bitcoin shouldn't really change, right? Bitcoin does that one thing fantastically, but it doesn't function as money. So we need a system, and we need tools to allow that value of Bitcoin to flow in such a way that we don't have Bitcoin and dependence on dollars, Visa, MasterCard, banks, and exchanges, but rather we have secondary systems that maybe you can wrap your Bitcoin onto, and you can use it, for cash-like settlements in that new context, rather than just sitting in this context where we have Bitcoin as a store of value, but to use it, we're incredibly dependent on the banks, the financial system. So think of Quai as a complement to that. And in terms of sort of reception, I think there was more maximalism in terms of Bitcoin only, Lightning only a couple of years ago. But I think people in the community are kind of coming to terms with, Lightning by itself isn't going to solve that problem, right? It's not going to solve the scale. It's not going to solve the privacy. It's not going to solve need of stable non-dollar denominated assets in the crypto system that will allow us to decouple from the dollar. So there's just things that Bitcoin can't do, and it was never meant to do. So we need these complementary tools to fill in those gaps.
You were at the Bitcoin 2026 conference, correct?
Yeah.
What was the reaction there? What was the feedback? I'm interested. Really interested in that. I know I'm digging deeper into this, but I'm interested because probably 3 years ago you're getting pushback. I think people are more, from the people that I've spoken to, are more willing to listen.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the arc or the takeaway. So this year was more open than last year, which was more open than the year before. So progressively over the last, I would say, 2 or 3 years, people are really coming to terms that we do need something else to fill out that puzzle of how we defect from the banking system.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 709. We're here with Dr. K breaking down the network, which is now sponsoring this show, which is seen by a lot of people. And people were, as soon as I was answering messages as I was on the show. They're like, what is it? And I sent them to the website. By the way, cool ass commercial. I like it. Thank you so much. It's the one of the first companies that right away sent me the commercial so I can go ahead and upload it here. So I can go ahead and play it instead of go ahead and, detail and speak about it. All right. Bitcoin question. Where do you think, where do you see Bitcoin going right now? I ask Andy this question all the time. He gives me the whole chart stuff. Where do you see Bitcoin heading right now? And then I'm going to ask you another question. Actually, you know what? Let me ask you this question before we go into the price point of Bitcoin. Quantum computing. Let's talk about that. What do you think about all this stuff that's come out about, quantum resistance and all when it comes to Bitcoin? What are your thoughts? You're a genius. You're smart. I've talked to you before.
Yeah, so I ultimately think quantum computing is a load of BS, to be perfectly frank with you.
Why?
Okay, so there in physics, is specifically in quantum physics, they conflate the concept of an excitation or a particle with the continuum. Okay, and the continuum is sort of this like background mathematical representation of space, right? But the reason they can say that they can encode an infinite amount of information in a finite thing is because they conflate the finite thing with the infinite continuum. And this shows up as this concept of unitariness in quantum systems, which I also think is fundamentally untrue. But they get away with it because they use this concept of renormalization when they do quantum information theory. So I personally think it's not going to work at all, because they don't understand that there's a finite amount of complexity that you can limit, that you can represent in a finite system, and they're just mixing it up with the infinite system of the continuum. But it's ultimately not going to work. Another way to sort of like peel that back a little bit is to think about a voltage. We're all familiar with like voltages, right? We can get a multimeter, we can measure a battery, and we can say, okay, that's 3.15 volts. Now, technically, that's also a continuum, meaning I could represent an infinite amount of information in that voltage, right? It's like 3.156928739 to an infinite number of precisions. But practically speaking, when we measure it, we know that there's noise and there's uncertainty. So you're not going to be able to measure an infinite amount of information in a single continuous value, right? Effectively, they're making that same mistake in quantum computing, and they haven't gotten to a high enough qubit level to sort of hit that wall. They will when they get to like 20 or 30 qubits, but they haven't gotten there yet.
Do you think this is just to sell a product? Like people are coming out here pushing this, quantum resistance, all this stuff. Do you think it's just to go ahead and sell a product to the industry?
So this is where it gets more interesting to me. I don't know if it's to sell a product or if it is to hijack the system. I'm not quite sure at this point.
What do you think, though? Like, if you don't have to stand, like, but where do you lean more towards?
I think it's more to hijack the system, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. So if you're sort of in quantum computers, I can understand kind of why you get to where you are, because your paycheck is dependent on these things working out, right? So there's certain cognitive dissonances, there's certain doors you don't want to open, certain questions you don't want to ask, right? But from an outside perspective, if you're honestly looking at it and you're saying, are error rates correlated with an increasing number of qubits, and you come to the conclusion of no, like I don't know how you rationally get there, like as an independent mind or sort of a scientist trying to look at that. So And then also, then why would I take the word of the people who have conflicted interests in the viability of this as it being viable? So none of that really makes a ton of sense. And then if you actually look at where the origin of all this Q-Day nonsense came from, it was the government and it was NIST. So I don't know. What do you think?
Honestly, I've had people on this show. I've had multiple people on the show. A sailor was on here. He didn't really think it was a thing, though. Obviously, since then, he's like, hey, we should obviously look into it. I think we should look into it, right? There's nothing wrong with looking into it. I just think, Landy's stands for, I think Landy's firm on like this is just such a marketing ploy. Uh, I don't know. And in which leads me into this also. What do you think about this new proposal to essentially take Satoshi's or any early Satoshi wallets off the market or out of their hands and put it back into the market?
Well,
Because
I
to me,
think,
it goes against everything that Bitcoin stands for.
yeah, I would agree with that. Um, the whole point is for it to be sovereign and it's for the rules to be immutable, right? So having developers ultimately control the system is not really what you want to do, right? In proof of work, ideally, in a sufficiently decentralized system, you're not going to be able to make controversial changes. The problem, or the reason I think that is getting some traction, is because the miners are the ones that want it, because the proposal that I have seen with taking Satoshi's coins is actually adding them back into the block rewards. And so that sort of fact that the system hasn't created enough revenue such that the miners kind of need new revenue sources and they're like looking for new revenue sources, i.e. Satoshi's coins, is indicative of them sort of wanting to change the system because they're not making enough money. But if we could scale Bitcoin or scale, a layer that feeds back money to Bitcoin so that the miners get paid enough and they don't need to go looking around for revenue, um, then we wouldn't be having this discussion.
What ideas do you have about helping out the miners here to where they can make or generate more revenue?
Yeah, well, so I mean, ultimately, it's about increasing utility. So you need to get Bitcoin to the point that in the layer one, or at least one step removed from the layer one, in a sort of pegged mechanism, that they can benefit from people using Bitcoin transactionally. So if you look at Lightning, it kind of does it, but what you'd be much better off doing is if there was a proper covenant system in Bitcoin. People could peg out to any number of L2s very cleanly, but every one of those pegging transactions would generate significantly more revenue than just a basic transaction. And then from the user's perspective, they could amortize that cost over many transactions in an L2. So, Quai could be one of those systems where you peg out and, you get programmability, you get 5-second settlement, you get 1 penny fees. And then that's still every transaction that's going in and out of the system is generating revenue for Bitcoin. So just increasing net utility of the asset will ultimately flow revenue back to the chain.
Have you spoken to miners about your network and the potential?
Oh yeah, we've spoken to a number of miners. We actually have an interesting system. So we're merge mined with 3 different algorithms. So Kapow, Script, and Shaw. Right now, we're merge mined with Bitcoin Cash, and we're something like 10% of Bitcoin Cash's hash rate. As the hash rate we have grows, we're eventually going to move that over to Bitcoin hash rate. And the ultimate, one of the downstream goals with that is when Bitcoin is merge mined with Quai, Bitcoin sort of becomes, or sorry, Quai becomes aware of Bitcoin, so to speak, because Bitcoin blocks start getting printed in Quai itself, which means then Quai sort of understands the state of Bitcoin. which means that if you have those covenants, you can have a completely trustless, oracle-less like connector. So as far as the most trustless way to create an L2, a covenant plus a merge mind thing like Quai is effectively the perfect way to do it.
Welcome to the breakdown, everybody. We got Dr. K on here. You guys like he's starting to remind me of Charles right now. I feel like I'm speaking to AI right now. And speaking of AI, how do you feel about AI in general and AI mixing in with Bitcoin or crypto?
AI is super interesting to me. And the reason that it's interesting is just sort of the societal implications, because I don't think LLMs are actually intelligent at this point. Well,
The way
so,
you said it, it's funny. No.
well, so what an LLM
They're
is?
more intelligent than the people I speak to, though.
Well, so here's the interesting
I'm not
thing.
talking about you. I'm saying in general. I mean, they're way.
Yeah, no. So the interesting thing about an LLM is that an LLM is it's effectively a mechanism for compressing data. So if we look at the training data that exists, right, they'll go through all this written text that was written by humans, and they'll say like, here's your input, adjust your weight so that you get like an output that's predictive, right? But the way that that works is effectively the training mechanism is distilling the logic that exists in the data that it's being trained on. So when you're talking to an LLM, you're effectively talking to like the ghosts that wrote the training data, if that makes sense, right? But it's like this aggregate ghost, right? But the LLM itself isn't thinking per se, it's just the ghosts of all the people that wrote the training data on which it was trained. So like it can't come up with a new idea. It doesn't even have the capability of really forming a logical idea itself. It's just the ghosts of the training data that you're talking to, which is kind of interesting, right? You're literally like having a conversation with the people that wrote all the information on which it's trained in some
So
aggregate sense.
when it says it's thinking, it's not really thinking.
No, it's not really thinking. It's predicting the next token, but that prediction is really saying it's trying to predict what the person who wrote the data on which it trained would have said. If that makes sense.
It makes sense.
Right. So
All right, but is AI useful?
oh,
Can AI be useful?
that's the interesting part here. Is
Yeah.
it's incredibly useful. And when you go back to your statement of it's smarter than most of the people I know, the level
That's so
of
bad. That is so bad.
like net intelligence that you're getting out of it can replace 95% of intellectual workers already, with like
Yeah.
no more training, no more advancement. You just need the integration into the workflows, the tool sets, the organizations. So already like 95% of intellectual workers are out of jobs. It
Yeah.
just like hasn't manifest yet. So that is an incredibly like disruptive thing, right? But it also, from a crypto perspective, I think it makes crypto much more relevant and salient, because the only sort of response that I see coming from politicians under this level of disruption is they are going to try to do two things. They're going to try to limit the use of AI. And you already see this in New York. They're proposing bills that say like you can't use it for lawyers, engineers, doctors, computer scientists. Like they're trying to cover
I saw that
everybody,
bill come out. I'm like, oh my god, this is crazy. Well, New York is crazy in general, but
right? Which is just going to push all work out of New York, right?
yeah.
Because like if I can't engineer in New York without AI, I'm going to move to New Jersey because I'm not going to be able to engineer otherwise, right?
Exactly.
So So that's like not going to work. So then the next thing that they're going to do is they're going to create a UBI of some form to sort of like paper over the imposition, and that's going to have two sides. One side is they're going to start printing money, giving it to people, in the form of expanded benefits. The other side of it, though, is they're going to start cracking down on your accessibility to the money that you have in the banking system and what you can use it for. So they're going to manage the liquidity side while printing on the other side to try to get this thing to keep going as long as possible while maintaining sort of like social stability. Like that's the outcome that we're looking at. We're talking about this outcome in the next couple of years. So what that means, though, from a perspective of monies and assets, is you have to have hard productive assets. And if you want to have liquid, the only liquid form that's going to exist that's not going to be taken from you is cryptocurrencies and properly decentralized cryptocurrencies. And so I think it's really important when we look at things, the exchanges become the weak points here. So just because you have Bitcoin doesn't mean they're not going to be able to control what you do with Bitcoin when you try to clear it through Coinbase. So if you think the money system is going to have this issue, the only way we fully extricate ourselves from it is to have crypto in such a way that we never have to convert it back to dollars. So AI is actually forcing high demand for a gray market, but the gray market of crypto needs to be self-contained and self-sufficient. But that's like where I see this going.
What are your thoughts on stable coins? Are they a good thing or a bad thing?
Um,
When you went and did the, so I like that.
So stable coins, they're good in the short term, terrible in the long term. Because in the short term, what they did is they gave more stable liquidity to crypto, right? So if I want to buy and sell things or I want to use crypto, USDT sort of opened up new markets for that. So if I think Bitcoin's going down, maybe I don't have to clear it on Coinbase anymore. I can clear it on a DEX and hold USDT. So that's marginally beneficial. However, the long form of this is all of those USDT and USDC transactions are monitored and they're freezable and they're based off assets held in a bank. And the people that determine if those assets are actually held in that bank or not is FinCEN, is the Treasury, is the Fed, right? So the more stables you get into the network, the more they are controlled by the traditional financial system. So in the long term, they're incredibly detrimental to the concept of decentralization, but they're also detrimental to the adoption of truly decentralized assets like Bitcoin because you have that quote unquote stable alternative in the dollar. And then finally, it actually punts the collapse of the dollar further out in time because instead of just having Americans that can have US denominated bank accounts, you're also allowing Venezuelans, Argentinians, Nigerians to have US denominated bank accounts, which effectively creates new buyers of US debt. So from the perspective of it is the mechanism by which you are going to introduce a de facto CBDC, it is very negative. From the perspective of it extends the dollar's viability further in time because it creates new buyers of US debt, I think that's also negative. Yeah, that's my perspective.
Kind of like a CBDC, right?
Yeah,
like
it's exactly a CBDC at the end of the day,
basically.
right? Yeah.
Without saying it. Without saying it.
Well, so you look at Tether, right? Tether holds
Tether went ahead,
deposits in a bank, but like who controls the deposits that are in the bank? And like who manages and regulates that? It's the Fed. And it's the Treasury and it's FinCEN. So that's exactly a CBDC. You've just introduced like a single proxy in between Tether. So it's not a CBDC, but it is. It's like the government made an LLC, right? Like create one step to be like it's not a CBDC. Like what are we talking about? It's absolutely a CBDC.
Well, look what happened a few weeks ago where they froze. I think it was 325 billion. Or million. It could have been million or billion.
Million.
It was million. Tether froze that. Now, look, this is not about getting away with crimes. Like that's not what blockchain is all about. You're gonna have bad seeds here. Like you have bad seeds everywhere. It's just that everything. At least I came into this industry based on there's no middleman. It's peer to peer, and if they can do that to okay, fine. If they can do that to somebody who really did commit a crime or whatnot, they could do that to anybody. Though they can just say, "Hey, Dr. K, we feel like you did something wrong, so we're gonna shut off your accounts." And that's where it gets problemsome. It's like, okay, then we're back into the centralized system. All we did was we left for a few minutes. We came into something that was called decentralized, and now it's completely centralized again. So it doesn't make sense. Like, what do we just do?
Well, I mean, this already happens in like the traditional financial system, right? So if you go to your
Yeah.
bank, you're like, I want to wire 50K. They'll like spin you in loops to wire
Exactly.
50K, right? If you're like,
They
I
ask
want
you
to,
why are you taking out 50K? What are you using it?
Yeah.
None of your business.
well,
Like, what
and they'll
I'm
be
using it
like,
for.
oh, so this is like for an investment. Like, do you have an investment contract? Or like, oh, this is to
Yeah.
buy, this car or like a boat or whatever. And they'll be like, oh, do you have like the bill of sale or like all this
Oh my
bullshit, right?
God.
Right. And then if you try to take out cash, it gets even worse. Or let's say you have a Chase bank account and you want to just buy or transfer money to Coinbase. Like they'll be like, oh, debit card transaction rejected. Oh, you can't transfer money to them. Oh, if you do it too much, we're going to close your account. So like you're already seeing this level of sort of preferential surveillance control on perfectly legal activities happening in the traditional banking system. So to think that they're not going to extend that to USDT, which is a de facto arm of the traditional banking system at this point, like is just insane. They're absolutely going to do the same thing. So it's not even about like crime or not. It's the fact that they just want to control the flows of money and capital. But one other aspect I would just touch on though is when we talk about crime, everything has been criminalized, right? So like is and some of this is kind of
Everybody
like
commits a crime
bending,
every
but
day
like
and they don't even know it. Is that this? There's a saying
well,
like everybody every single day, everybody on this planet commits a crime and they don't even know it.
yeah, show me the man, I'll show you the crime, sort of thing, right? Like that's the existence that we're under. But like even if we look at things like marijuana, right? Marijuana is sort of legal, and I think Trump just made it like
Yeah,
a Schedule 3. Is that right? Rather
I
than like a
believe so. Yeah.
so like it's a less sort of severe federal thing now, but it's still technically not legal federally. But you have all of these states and dispensaries growing and selling it. But you go back 15 years, people are getting put in jail,
Like 20 years.
for having marijuana, which is like absolutely insane. So like not only do we have this federal registrar that's, hundreds of thousands of pages, which makes everybody a criminal just for breathing effectively, you also have these weird sort of like points of government over control which have no moral or social justification, right? So when we talk about crime in crypto, what you're really saying is that in a free market, there's a lot of things that aren't really justified as being criminalized that are. And where you see crypto used is at the edges that are sort of by any metric like morally and socially acceptable, but for whatever reason they're criminalized, right? Um, so again, I don't think crypto is for crime, but the reason that you see it, want to overlap in certain ways is because it facilitates sort of free, fair, and moral markets more so than the traditional system does.
Dr. K, it was a pleasure having you on today. And I'm looking forward to having you on next month so we can break down the protocol and, just what's happening within the space itself. God damn it. I got you, and I'm trying to think who goes off, you or Charles, when it comes. I can ask you guys any question and you guys are here and willing to go ahead and answer anything. I love that. I love that shit. But it is nice to have your brand on my show now. I love your brand. Landy put me onto it. Shout out to Landy. I got to give him a round of applause there. I remember when Landy came to me, he was like, you got to check out this. And he broke it down for like at least, I don't know if you guys have tuned into my show, Landy can talk. When he says, give me a second, it's like 94 minutes. Okay. So He broke it down, and I think you guys are doing phenomenal. And I'm glad that the reception at the conference and was a good one, where people are more. And I heard that a lot about other stuff, but I'm just happy that the Bitcoin crowd is finally just like accepting things and trying to understand things that can benefit the network.
Yeah, and I think really that's you know, going to kind of be the arc. If you look at you know, Paul Stork, I don't know if you talked about eCash at all, but you know, he's proposing that fork.
Yeah. He's getting
I-
brutally attacked on X. Like you have
Yeah.
some people that are like for it, but like 95% are just like ripping him.
Right. So there's this question of, we have Bitcoin and we would like Bitcoin as an asset to continue to go up in value and have expanded utility. So we can
Correct.
pay the miners, we can all see appreciation in, you know, wealth, etc. But to do that, we have to add new utilities. So the question is, given the constraints that we have for Bitcoin, sort of what is the minimally viable like change set that you might need to extend that utility such that we can help Bitcoin become more independent of the traditional financial system by gaining new utility, right? Like that's
Yeah.
the fundamental question that you're going to ask. So there's this concept of, oh, you can fork the network and you know, take Satoshi's coins as your fee and everything. That's one strategy. Another strategy is merge mine with Bitcoin, such that Bitcoin can get wrapped into the merge mine network, so like providing that utility without having to run sort of this fork and distribution model. And that's the approach we're taking.
Interesting. We shall see what happens.
Yep.
Anything, obviously, we have to support the miners. That's 100%. The miners, they're entitled to get paid. So,
Well, it's more
it-
than just they're entitled to get paid. If the miners didn't exist and the hash rate didn't exist at like
Correct.
a high enough level, you wouldn't be able to transact.
100%.
Right? You would do a transaction and it will get reversed. So it's not just sort of the miners have to get paid. If you want to continue to have utility and be able to spend your Bitcoin or transfer your Bitcoin or even just hold your Bitcoin, you're going to need the miners. And the miners have to get paid enough that there's the ability to move large amounts of money safely, right? And
100%.
without a mechanism to do that, Bitcoin starts to lose utility rather than even maintain it, right? So like
that's why it's
gotta
important.
figure that out.
Yeah, it's 100% crucial that we incentivize them and find incentives to incentivize miners to keep on, you know, doing their jobs and keeping this network up. I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. I just, you know, I think Bitcoin maxis have this thing. Well, we'll come to that. It's one of those. We'll come to that conclusion. At least the ones that I've been speaking to, in the last few years, they'll be like, "We'll come to that." But then there are others that say, like, "No, we have to come up with something now, not come to it when we're in the 11th hour." That's the thing. I hate when like everybody waits until the 11th hour to fix something when you have all this time now to actually produce something that can go ahead and fix the problem, bring a solution to the table.
Well, I think the 11th hour is it's not happening from the Bitcoin perspective. The 11th hour is happening from the CBDC perspective.
Okay.
That's
fair.
That's like the problem. So it's not that we're gonna in the next like 2 years like run into a situation where, you know, your ability to send Bitcoin is materially impaired because we're not paying the miners enough. The problem is you're going to get this CBDC like system introduced, which is going to undermine your ability to hold and spend the Bitcoin because we can't, you know, transact it fast enough, cheap enough directly for transactions, which gives that foothold to the CBDCs, right? So it's not the Bitcoin problem; it's actually the CBDC problem. So the 11th hour is we need a competitive, decentralized solutions against CBDCs. To keep the decentralized systems decentralized. That's like the 11th hour problem.
CZ was on a show and he said, I don't want to. I'm paraphrasing here. Somebody asked him a question about, do you see, what do you see for Bitcoin's future? And he kind of said like, it's the greatest thing right now. We don't know what happens in the future. Kind of like indicating that it potentially something could come along and replace it. Do you? Again, this is I'm paraphrasing here, so nobody don't go crazy. But he was on a show, doing a podcast, and until something comes along that's better. Do you think anything comes along that's better?
Okay, so let me get a little bit technical here, but I'll try to do my best to like keep it tight.
You got a bunch of techies in here. They're ready for it. Go for it.
Okay, so um, if we go back to this concept of Quai and Bitcoin, right? Quai isn't just a merge mined asset, by the way. There's this subtle thing that we call SOAP, right? So when miners mine Quai, they just get Quai. The secondary token is then sold and used to buy and burn Quai at market. So it has a different sort of economic relational than any other merge mine system that exists. So it can grow in both price and emissions without having to sort of pay 100% of that. It just has to pay sort of the marginal fraction above the secondary token, such that miners choose to mine Quai over the other token. But what that does is it gives this very interesting sort of like growth curve with how much hash rate you can get. And it really wants to just keep going up. So the idea is when we start merge mining with Bitcoin, over time, Quai's hash rate will become more and more, or the Bitcoin's hash rate, which merge mines Quai, will become more and more of the total hash rate of the Bitcoin network. As that happens, and as you start to wrap assets, Bitcoin into Quai, there's now no meaningful difference in terms of the security model if you have a proper covenant. So the thing that's extending the Quai chain is the same thing that's extending the Bitcoin chain. So you have the exact same proof of work security guarantee. And then if you're using covenants, there's no trust in the middle. There's no federated peg, there's no committee, there's no oracle. So now you've literally extended the Bitcoin system with no new trust assumptions. Okay? So like if you can get to that point, I would argue that we can now talk about two different entities. You can talk about Bitcoin the asset and Bitcoin the protocol. Bitcoin the asset is perfectly fine operating independent of the Bitcoin protocol by trading on Quai. What has happened now is Quai has become potentially in the future dominant over the existing Bitcoin protocol. So you don't have to relaunch the system. You just have to have enough utility, and then you use the same economic finalization mechanism, and then you just gain market share over time. And effectively, the Bitcoin protocol still exists, but the people who dictate like really what's going to happen, or ideally not happen, but just provide the utility, is the Quai protocol, right? So you've effectively upgraded Bitcoin without having to change the core protocol. But you can bifurcate Bitcoin as a protocol and Bitcoin as an asset, if that makes sense. Yeah. So like long term here, the goal is like Quai is effectively just an upgrade to Bitcoin itself.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you missed this, I hope you replay it. Dr. K dropping knowledge. I like that. Touching on all topics. Bitcoin mostly. Obviously, Quai, the Quai network. You guys can go ahead and check that out. I have the link in the thread that I put out there. You guys know the thread. You guys comment on the thread and click on the thread and click on the link and takes you to the website. Website's cool as shit, by the way. I love the website. We'll see you back here next month. Maybe even earlier. I don't know. If I need somebody to go ahead and break something down that happens in Bitcoin, I'm bringing you up here.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get to anyone on the other side of the quantum debate, I think I can be a good foil.
100%. This thing has oh my God! I brought on people about quantum. It was I have got both sides in my DMs, just one ripping me apart, one saying, "Thank God you went ahead and brought up the issue." So like, it's hard, man. Hard in this space to go ahead and just have a discussion about whether it's a problem or not. Just have the goddamn conversation. But
Well,
I will
well,
bring you back on for
well,
that.
well circling back to quantum. So when I was at Bitcoin, I spent some time on the listening to some talks on the like the developer stage,
Yeah.
and they had conversations about quantum. And it was funny. Every person who was like, quantum is a thing, they were using the announcements and the projection of the quantum computing companies. They didn't have any like idea or data independent thereof. So they're like, oh, well, according to Microsoft with their Majorum
Yeah.
qubits,
Yeah.
like here's where they are, and like here's where they project to go. And they're just like taking the projections of these quantum computing companies as the Bible of if this is going to be a problem or not. But the one other thing that I would say about quantum is I don't think the concept of so there's like steps to this problem, right? So like RSA is the first step. It's not ECC. So like Bitcoin isn't going to be the first thing to fall. RSA is going to be the first thing to fall. And we're going to know that RSA has fallen, I would say, for at least a year before like ECC starts to fall. So in terms of like having to front run it, I think there's weak arguments to say that, oh, it's going to be so quick going from RSA to ECC that like we have to do it today. I don't even think that argument stands up to any sort of credibility based off the complexity of the relative, algorithms and what it would take to do one versus the other. I think you're going to have at least a year between RSA getting broken and ECC getting broken. So you have like the true signal at that point, if it's real or not, which I don't think it is, but you'd have the starting gun and you'd have like a year to fix it. So even there, I don't think we need to sort of, proactively get on our horse and start changing the system to accommodate this thing, because we're going to have plenty of warning between when the weaker crypto systems start breaking and it would be able to break Bitcoin, which again, I don't think it will. But my point is, you're going to have enough warning that it doesn't matter.
A lot of networks already came out and said we're already quantum resistant. Like, so we're not even worried about this.
Well, okay.
I think
So
Algorand came out with that and all that stuff. A bunch came out and said we're good. We're good. We're not even worried.
well, so that's a whole other like can of worms. But I will say every quantum resistant crypto that exists, one is like very new crypto. So I would say, like, I've looked into some of it, but I would say like at the face, probably more quantum resistant, obviously, than ECC. However, all of those quantum resistant algorithms require 10 times the amount of data and the 10 times the amount of compute to do it a normal signature, at least, right? So if you're saying like, oh, we've just like whimsically upgraded to these quantum resistant systems, that's costing your network tons of data, tons of bandwidth, and tons of computational load
Yeah.
for literally no reason. So saying that like you're quantum resistant at this point is saying that we run at like a 10 times less efficient that we could run. So it's actually technically a negative outside of just the fear mongering, right? So it doesn't even make sense.
I got to have a panel with you and a bunch of other really smart, high IQ individuals talk about the subject. I think it would make for a good time. At least for me, I can sit back and watch everybody battle it out. Dr. K, it is a pleasure, and I appreciate you coming on. And I mean, congratulations again, and to us. Well, now you're a part of the network, and again, hopefully, we'll have you back on next month, maybe even earlier. Who knows? But glad that you had a good time at Bitcoin 2026, and it's nice to see your network really producing. I remember talking to you. What was it like? It had to be 2, 3, or 4 months ago. From that point to now, you guys have leaped like completely, like what, 5 steps since that conversation. I'm happy to see it. I'm really happy. I said the same thing to Alan. Hello, Alan. I know you're probably watching. I said the same thing to Alan. So shout out to you guys, and I'll see you next time.
Awesome. Appreciate it, David.
Dr. K, another smart. I'm telling you, we got some smart ass individuals, even though our ChatGPTs and Claude right like as if we learn right now. They're not smart. They're not really thinking. They're not really thinking. I thought they were thinking this entire time. I really thought they were thinking this entire time. I'm eyeing LaFront. I thought it was a think. By the way, again, my editor is screaming at me now because he said, well, you should have given me an advance warning. So sorry about, obviously we have the new layout. We'll have clips out also. If you missed the conversation today with Dr. K from Quiet Network, who is a new sponsor on this show, we'll have that out there on Gottstein Clips. That's right. That's right. We'll have that. We'll have that pushed out. A lot of good topics touched on. As you can see, Dr. K is pretty smart. Alan's pretty smart too. Alan said, I'm not going to do your show. Told me straight up, I'm not coming on your show, bro. I was offended, but I was like, all right, he's busy. Welcome to The Breakdown, episode 709. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Or these commercial break.
What first got you excited about blockchains? Think about it. Oh, wait. I bet it wasn't multi-million-dollar hacks, exposed data, or finding somewhere safe to store your seed phrase. Was it? Maybe it was the idea of decentralizing a broken financial system. Maybe it was imagining a world where people own their own data and get to sharing the value it creates. Or maybe it was the promise of a fundamentally better way of connecting, communicating, and transacting. The next phase of the internet that empowers us instead of exploiting us. So why hasn't that happened yet? Why are we still living with the same broken system that blockchains promise to fix? It's because blockchains can't keep a secret. Enabling open, transparent systems was only the first half of the challenge. For blockchains to really change the world, they also have to be able to protect our sensitive data when it matters. And that's where we build Midnight, to bring down the final barrier to mass adoption and unlock the full potential of the decentralized web. Let's build the internet we deserve, together.
Ladies and gentlemen, we all know this in crypto. Ownership matters. That's why Cake Wallet. Cake Wallet gives you full control of your digital assets, all in one easy-to-use application. You can store Bitcoin, Litecoin, Zcash, Monero, and many more with just one secure backup. Swap between coins in seconds. No copying addresses, no complicated steps, and even includes Bitcoin Lightning for faster payments. And with Cake Wallet built in, you can use crypto in real life through debit cards or gift cards. Simple, secure, self-custody. Download Cake Wallet and take control of your crypto. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back. Episode 709, sponsored by everybody. That's right. That was funny, man. Give me a round of applause on that one. And welcome back. Sponsored by everyone, bro. Sponsored by the local bodega store, bro, and 7-Eleven. Yo, I swear to God, man. 2 new shows added onto this one. So 3 shows. We'll have 3 shows. Okay. 3 shows. Come on, man. Clap, man. Learned a lot today. Learned a lot. And getting back to memes real quick. Because the goddamn the template got meme coin season really back. Okay. What am I supposed to do? I gotta talk about it. So we'll talk about it. I will finish what I was saying in the beginning of the show. And that is, I don't support KOLs. I despise KOLs. I don't like influencers. I really don't. And maybe that's all because I came to crypto, and crypto has absolutely watered down both KOL, the terminology for KOL and for influencer. Maybe that's why I don't like both labels, and I don't like when people call me that. You know what? I can see myself as a key opinion leader. That I can see myself as. Influencer, I don't know. I don't like that influencer shit. Key opinion leader, you know who's a key opinion leader? Michael Saylor is a key opinion leader, okay? CZ could be a key opinion leader. Like, I can name you KOLs. The people that you call KOLs are not KOLs. What, because they hit up the timeline and they say buy this? Well, why should I buy it? Well, I don't know. Buy it. It goes up. Number goes. No, that's not a KOL. That's a salesperson. Okay? That's an assistant manager. That's Al Bundy selling shoes at the mall. Okay, married with children type of shit. That's what that is to me. So yeah, I don't like when KOLs spit on communities. I don't like it. I will always side with the community over KOLs. I will always side with communities over vamps, real vamps, which are full of people who are taking money, who have no interest in the meme, and they're putting money in because one hand wipes the other type of shit, and they're sending them, but they're disrespecting a community that's already out there. And these are the same people that say, oh, we love communities and we wish we can be together. No, you don't. You don't give a fuck about the community. You don't. You care about money. You know what? I'd have more respect for you if you just came out and said, you know what? I just want this money. I just want to make money. I'd have way more respect for you. Don't talk about like you. Stop. I was the first one of the first people. I'm gonna say this again. National TV talking about crypto art, which was then rebranded to NFTs, and then I had one of the most legendary people who was creating crypto art on my staff in 2016. Before you motherfuckers started calling it NFTs. I had Vesa on. Vesa was a part of G Media. He was writing about crypto art, aka NFTs, which you weren't even into or know about. I didn't see you in the memes. I didn't see you with Dogecoin. I didn't see you with Turtlecoin. Stop that. Stop it. Stop it. It is just come out and say, all we want to do is make money. I will respect that more than to say, here's this, that, and the thesis on this. Stop. Stop. Stop it. It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with that. If I really wanted to send the motherfucker, I will send it. If I really wanted, I don't want to do it no more. And you know what? That might hurt. It might hurt some people. I don't want to do it no more. I don't want to come out to the top. I'm not battling. I want others to go out there and battle. Okay. I want to sit back and relax. That's why I haven't really done much. I haven't done much. I just been sitting back and going into shit that even motherfuckers that don't like me, I've been going into their shit. And I've been making money. And that's the right way to do it. I really am more concerned about Bitcoin and other stuff. But I do, like, you know what? I think the rage thing is a little bit personal. I think I can honestly say the rage guy thing is a little bit personal because of the amount of shit that was talked about me. I think that's why it's a little bit more personal. So I want to see the Ticker Rage win. Yeah, I do, 100%. I want to see them win. But I'm in both. And maybe I get sad. You know what? This would be the perfect ending. Rage guy continues to send, and I continue to take profits. And then you have rage that overtakes them from a community aspect. Because right now, let me tell you something right now. Ticker Rage is against the wall. I'm going to tell you that right now. You're going against tier 8 KOLs who have some money left over. They're pushing the chart, okay? They have no community. It's just a community of KOLs. So you're going against the KOLs. And they've already, smooth talk. They talked to fucking Moonshot. And they talked to all these people to get themselves on. So, and it's now the community versus KOL. Yeah, you guys got a tough battle here. This is like the 1980 Olympics, the hockey games, man. The ice hockey game against Russia versus the US. This is where you stand right now. This is where you stand now. We'll be right back. I'll be right back with the quote of the day right after this.
What first got you excited about blockchains? Think about it. Oh wait. I bet it wasn't multi-million-dollar hacks, exposed data, or finding somewhere safe to store your seed phrase. Was it? Maybe it was the idea of decentralizing a broken financial system. Maybe it was imagining a world where people own their own data and get to sharing the value it creates. Or maybe it was the promise of a fundamentally better way of connecting, communicating, and transacting. The next phase of the internet that empowers us instead of exploiting us. So why hasn't that happened yet? Why are we still living with the same broken system that blockchains promise to fix? It's because blockchains can't keep a secret. Enabling open, transparent systems was only the first half of the challenge. For blockchains to really change the world, they also have to be able to protect our sensitive data when it matters. And that's why we built Midnight, to bring down the final barrier to mass adoption and unlock the full potential of the decentralized web. Let's build the internet we deserve, together.
Welcome back to the show. Welcome back. I just want to say this before we go to the quote of the day. If I really wanted to, I could. Like, I really wanted to, I could. I'm going to say this one more time. If I really wanted to go onto the timeline and really push something, I could, but I don't want to. And that, because I know what happens. I know it's kind of like John Wick. I'm retired, man. Don't step on my dog. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, don't step on my dog, because that's the only way that I'll actually, I guess, come back. But I don't want to come back. I want to sit back and just relax. Come onto this show, obviously with fantastic. The graphics just continue to get better. The show continues to get better. The guests continue to get better, and it's just like I just want to do my thing. I just want to do my thing. And I just really hope I don't get pulled into this. I don't want to be pulled into this shit. I really don't. I really don't. I hope the Rage community, Ticker Rage wins. I really do. I'm going to say that. I hope you clip it up. I hope they win just because I can't stand the motherfuckers that talked about me. I can't stand the motherfuckers that wish me ill. Okay? Which is fucking crazy over a fucking meme. Over a fucking meme, people wish me the nastiest things in the world. God sees everything, though. Don't worry about that. But at the end of the day, like, I don't want to be dragged into that shit. I don't want to be dragged into the mud. I don't give a like, from that standpoint, I don't give a fuck. But I do want to see that Rage win, and it's going to take a community effort to do so. So I'm going to say this: at the end of the day, if there is a community, like I just stated earlier in the show, if there is a real actual community behind your token, then you will have no problem winning, because real communities win. Just look at Bobo. I'm going to give you an example of Bobo. No matter how many attacks have been think about how many people have attacked Bobo throughout the years. No matter how many contracts were put out there, no matter how many times KOLs came together and tried to do something to Bobo, they did not win. Why? Because the community held strong. The community knew that the outcome was going to be us winning. So if your community is real, you're not scared of none of this shit. It doesn't matter if they get listed on 94,000 exchanges. Doesn't matter. You don't, right now, 2021, this would have been a big thing being listed on exchanges. In 2026, it doesn't matter. Nobody gives a fuck about exchanges. So at the end, if y'all believe you have the ultimate community, then you'll win. If you really have a legitimate community, I'm telling you right now, if you have a cult, if not even a community, let's call it, if you have a cult, you're gonna win. That's it. Might not be today, might not be next week, but you will win long term. Because KOLs do not hold. We all know this. KOLs will not hold. They're out. They're gonzo. They're gonna take their money and leave. So I hope y'all win. And it's not going to be easy, man. But y'all come here for 8 months. I know, I've seen it. You guys have been working your asses off. Keep working. Rek Takashi never stopped with Bobo when there was like 19 Bobos, vamp attacks coming at Bobo at the same time. Didn't stop. He didn't even give a fuck. He continued to play his Fortnite on his live streams. He was chilling. So, how many Apus came out? How many Apus and Pepes came out? Pepe 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, 5, 6, 7, like, didn't matter. The original will always win because the original really does have the cult community a part of said asset. Anyway, quote of the day. Quote of the day. Shout out to People's Reserve, CJ. Hell of a job doing everything that he's doing over there. Bitcoin as collateral. That's cool. We have the network on now. They're cool. Midnight. I'm trying to get to my quote of the day so I can go ahead and I got a conference call right now. And then afterwards, I'm going to exercise. Yo, I got to say, though. Never mind. I don't want to. Well, I'll say it. My body has always looked good, but holy shit. 2 a days really work, and I am lifting heavier, man. I am lifting heavier than ever before, and like it shows. Anybody who's into like the gym, working out, training, like when you start lifting really heavy, there's such a difference, man. Like it is a fucking difference. And especially taking a rest day, definitely, you see aesthetically. Never mind. I might get the females and males here kind of turned on. Anyway, let's go to the quote of the day. quote of the day is this: you can always tell when someone is going to win in life because they're blatantly different from everyone else around them. Without even trying, their demeanor and energy just be different. That's why having a strong sense of identity is important, because every day the world will try to convince you into being someone you're not. Authenticity leads to divine order and success. So there you go. Guys, go get it. Go get it. I'll see you here tomorrow, Friday, wrapping up the entire week. We'll talk about Trump and China. Okay. We'll talk about the markets. We'll see where the market's at. And I love my new overlay. I just love my new overlay. I love all this, how it's coming together. Shout out to the sponsors. I love you guys. And shout out to the audience. Again, I'm trying to work out this thing with TikTok. So I don't know what the puppet said. I know the puppet's been trying to take me off of TikTok forever, man. It's messed up. But on that note, God bless America, and I am out. And by the way, check out my Cash App commercial, okay? Check out Cash App. I'm partnered with Cash App. Check out the commercial. Check out the commercial. Anyway, I'm out.